everybody. Happy Sunday. We're about ready to do some more Easter projects. I love Easter projects. So this was one of my favorite bench buddies, this little bunny pillow. So it's very cute and it's chenille. So we're going to do some chenille tonight. Just a second, I got to get my other tablet going here. Make sure I can see. Oh, it's working. See the comments coming through. How is everybody tonight? Second here. Go back to the banners and find the comments. Oh, hi, everybody. People are saying hi. So did everybody get their clocks turned ahead? It seems very strange for it to be light. This is really light. It's like 6 o'clock and it's very light. So yeah, it was a really nice day today. Dad and I went out for a ride. It was really nice out. It's like 50 degrees. Boy, did we get rid of a lot of snow. Because I looked out just a little while ago. I'd been kind of working and doing things and working on my taxes and stuff like that. And all of a sudden I looked out and I thought, golly, look at all, there's no snow on the ground. So the snow really melted a lot today. So cool. So I'm actually seeing your comments coming through so well. I will. Yeah, Dad's been watching the Iowa Hawkeyes today. They won the Big Ten championship. I thought that was cool. So he's been watching basketball today. So let's see here who's saying things to me. I can't see very well on this computer. Just a reminder, after the class, if you go back to the group and the post that is this video, if you go click on the little post that talks about allowing me to see your comments, you don't have to do it again. But if you go allow me to see your comments, then I can see it on StreamYard. So it's a little hard for me. I have to look back at to see who's actually saying things to me. Some of you have already done that and I'm seeing your names. But if you haven't done that yet, just go click on the little link in the post. So go back there after the class is over and just click on that little link. And then you can tell it's okay for StreamYard to see your name. So that way I can see it on this screen also. So that helps me a lot. But I've got another one over here so I can see over there. So, okay. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to do this adorable little pillow. We're going to make the little bunny pillow. Isn't it cute? And this was a really fun, easy one to do. So I love doing chenille. I've actually learned to really like chenille after I found my cool, super duper chenilling tool that we'll use tonight. And also, and we're going to go talk through about the stuff, but I also, you're supposed to use some sort of a little loom thing to make these ribbons. But you know what? I found these cute little ribbons at Walmart and I just used those instead because I didn't want to have to try to find the little loom and make the flowers. So my little bunny has little flower roses on its hair. And so anyways, this is what we're going to do tonight. I got a couple things to show you for the next couple weeks. And then we will do, let's see, we're going to have a couple weeks off at the end of March. Jan needs a little time off. Jan, will you be doing the 2 new mini pillows that are added to the Kimberbell Vault this week? Those are part of the, I think they were in that, the possibilities for spring or winter book. I think I just went and looked at those today. I wasn't planning on it. Those are really cute. I have the book. So can you tell me which ones they were? Shannon, if you can maybe look it up and text me through Messenger and let me know which ones you were talking about. I wasn't planning on it. I've got some other stuff planned. So, okay. Okay. So, first we're going to talk about the stuff we need for this, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the whole pillow tonight because it doesn't take too long to do this one. So I really enjoy making these a lot. So this has probably been one of my favorite ones. So, okay. So I'm going to switch the camera over just a second here. Go in here and switch my camera. My cat decided she wants to be lovey-dovey all of a sudden. So she's out here trying to sit on my lap. So now she's back up on the table. She normally doesn't bother me very much while I'm out here, but she hasn't really been out here at all today. So for some reason, she thinks she needs to be in my face right now. Can you move? You need to move. Come on. Sorry. Okay. So first, let's talk about what we need to do this one. You need to have, let's see here. Let me get the book open. We need to have the background fabric, and I used 2 different backgrounds. I had a couple of different ones. This one's kind of a limey green, and the other one I did was this kind of turquoisey minty color. This is the other one that I did. And then so I made the background fabric and the back of it the same fabrics. Okay, so I used those. And for the background, you need a 10.5 by 10.5 inch square. And then you also need a piece of the shape flex on the back of this. So there's shape flex on the back of this piece. So that's the first piece you needed. Then you need the 2 backs. So these are the 2 backs that were 6.5 by 8.5. So there's my 2 backs. And I did pre-hem those on the long sides. Okay, so I pre-hemmed mine, you can see. So we'll talk about that at the end. All right, so I got those out of the way. And then you need the bunny rabbit applique parts. So the head is this piece that's kind of 4 by 6, and then you want a piece of shape flex on the back of that too. Otherwise, your background fabric's going to kind of bleed through there. So I put a piece of shape flex, white shape flex on the back of that. Okay. And then this was just a white cotton. I think this is the one with the little tiny polka dots on it. Okay. So this has got the shape flex. And then you need 3 more pieces, or I'm sorry, 4 more pieces that are going to be the applique parts for the ears and the chenille. And those are like 5.5 by 8. Okay. So that's the pieces for the ears and the chenille. And then you need a little piece of glitter vinyl for the insides of the ears. So I have my glitter vinyl, and we're going to take this clear plastic part off of it. So I'll take that off right now before I forget about it. Maybe if I can get a hold of it. This one's being contrary. Sometimes they don't come off very well, and sometimes they come off really easy. There we go. Okay, so there's my pink glitter vinyl. My ears are cotton. They said something in there about flannel somewhere in the instructions. I think it's in the little description at the top here. And I always used cotton on mine, and I think most of the other instructions talk about cotton fabric. I mean, the flannel would work fine. I think it might actually almost be too much for the chenille. So you can try it, but I have used just cotton. And you want it to be 100% cotton. The fabrics that have a little bit of polyester don't chenille as well as the 100% cotton do. Okay. Oh, Dad's doing fine. Somebody asked how Dad's doing. Dad's doing fine. He's been watching basketball today. Okay. So I have all my pieces here. I'm going to set these aside for a second. And then the little flower roses that I put up on the bunny. I got these at Walmart, and I've seen these, like at Joann's and stuff too. They're just like a little flower rose. And these were Ofre was the name of the brand. So I got these at Walmart, I think. So that's what I'm going to put on mine for the little above the head there. So, all right. So we got those. Okay. Get some of these things out of the way so we can use them. Okay. So the first thing we got to do is we got to hoop this. Now I'm going to hoop this similarly to the other things that I have hooped, and we've been doing this. So I've got tearaway. So it tells you to use a cutaway, but I am using tearaway on mine. Okay. And I have taken my background fabric and I put the shape flex on the back. Those flowers are awesome. Easy. Yes. I thought so too. I took a look at the instructions and I thought, I'm not going to make those little loom things. So no, I like these. So I put the shape flex on the back of the fabric, and this is how I've done almost all of these. I took my piece of tearaway, I laid it down, I took my fabric glue stick and put glue stick on the back of my fabric, and then I centered it on my stabilizer. So I don't do all the marking business on the fabric. I just kind of eyeball it. Okay. And then I hooped this. Now I am going to be using the 8x8 version. There are two versions of this design. So if you do not have an 8x8 hoop, there is a split design that you will do the ears in one hooping and the head in a second hooping. So if you have like a 5x7 hoop, you can still do this, but you'll have to do it in two hoopings. Okay. And I am going to use the 8x8. I'm lazy and I don't want to have to hoop it twice. Okay. Because I have an 8x8 hoop. So this is the 8x8 hoop, and I just have the whole background in here. Okay. There's a separate set of instructions for the double hooping, and it's not hard to do it. It shows you what to do, and it has like little markings to line it up. It's actually very easy. Okay. But I like to use the bigger hoop, so I'm just going to use my bigger hoop. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. I've got this all in and somewhat, centered. I centered it the best I could. And yeah, so you just have to print out the different sets of instructions. There's a set of instructions for the double hooping and one for the single hooping. So, okay. And like I said, I used the tearaway instead of cutaway and glue stick. And I didn't do all the, centering business. I just eyeballed it. Okay. All right, so the first step is going to be, we're going to do the little ear things, the little insides of the ears. And that is going to be done with the glitter vinyl. The one thing you want to do though is, and it says this in the instructions, to use the same color, because that is going to be, like raw edge applique. So you kind of want to make sure that your colors match whatever you want. So I'm going to make mine pink. I've got a horizon pink. It's a brother color. Second here, I think my needle's going to come unthreaded here. There we go. All right. So the first step is going to be the placement line for my ears, for the insides of my little ears. Okay. And like I said, this can be easily done in a 5x7. The little marking business is not hard to line this up. And they almost always do that for the smaller hoops, that they may give you a split design for the smaller hoops. So even people with only a 5x7 can do this. All right. So then we're going to place our glitter vinyl. Okay. And I've got to trim. I'm going to take my machine down and have Ron service it, because I got still got these little tails sticking up here. Trim the little tails off. And I'm going to lay my piece of glitter vinyl over my two placement lines here. Okay. And I'm going to try to conserve some of it. And then I'm going to do the next step. The next step will be, whoops, there we go. The next step will be the placement line, or the tack down line, I'm sorry. And this is going to be the one that is going to be raw edge. So, and as bright as it is, I may actually have to go run and get my glasses here real quick while this is stitching, so I can trim, because it's very matchy. There we go. Sometimes I just need my glasses when everything's so matchy. This thread really matches the glitter. So the next step is going to be trimming this. And again, this is raw edge applique, so we're just going to trim it. And I'm staying about 1/8 of an inch away. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Let me pull this down just a little bit. There we go. About 1/8 of an inch away. And then we'll watch the instructions here, but I imagine the next step will be, we're going to have to press this down with the iron. And last night I finished cutting out all the kits for the May, June, July, and August pillow. So we are going to continue on starting in May, doing May, June, July, and August, these little bench buddies. And I just finished up cutting out all those kits. So I have all my kits cut out for the whole 4 months. I like to cut them all out and get it done, and then I can just sit down and sew. All right. Yeah, let's see. I got kind of messy over here, so let me give this a little bit of a trim. That looks better. Okay. All right. And get that out of the way. So there's my little insides of my ears. And now it says, we're going to turn the page, make sure we don't miss anything. It says to go ahead and use a pressing cloth. Okay, use a pressing cloth. And I'm going to lay this over with the iron, and I'm just going to press down for about 15-20 seconds. Okay, so I'm just going to get up and do that. I didn't bring all that stuff over here. So give me a second here. Got my pressing cloth. Just takes a second to do that. So I just use a tea towel on mine usually. So I'm just pressing that. I am putting some pressure on it. All right. Okay, so I did put a little bit of pressure on that, and I went ahead and pressed it for about 20 seconds. Yeah, I don't like to cut, so I usually do all the cutting at once and get it over with, so I can just sit down and sew. I like to sew. I don't like to cut. So, all right. So now we're going to start working on the bunny. We got the little ears done, and I'm going to let these cool just a second there. And then I'm going to switch over to white thread because I want my bunny to be white. And we will need to make sure that you have matching thread when you use the tack down line for the white, because it's kind of a motif stitch and you don't want your tack down line to show through. So I want to make sure that I'm using matching. So I am going to use white. All right, so let me thread my machine here. All right, so just get this a little bit off center today. There we go. All right, so the next step, this is step number 3 in the machine, is going to be the placement for the little head. Now that's the piece that I put the shape flex on the back, because we're not going to put anything else on top of that, so we didn't want that green to bleed through, so I put a piece of shape flex on the back of this. All right, so I got my placement line. You probably can't see it too well. I did it in my white. Okay, and then I'm going to place that right side up with the shape flex on the back. I'm going to put that over my placement line here. Make sure I got it all covered up. All right, and then step number 4 is going to tack that down. And then we're going to trim again. This is such a fun little project. I remember I made this quite a while ago, and I had not learned to do chenille very well, so my first one didn't turn out very good. I had a hard time with the chenille, and now that I have my wonderful tool for chenilling, I get really nice chenille. So, okay. So we're going to go ahead and trim this now. This is step number 9 on page 16 of the instructions, I think. Yep. So we're going to trim. So we're going to trim close all the way around. The bottom is going to be in the seam allowance of the pillow, so you can just trim right up to the stitches then. So we're going to trim our little, and you do want to be fairly close on this one because it's just a little motif stitch. That's your covering stitch, and you don't want anything to show. So I'm going to have to take this out. It's being contrary here. You could put, somebody asked if you could put quilting. Yeah, I think you could do quilting. I don't know that you would have to, because unless you're putting I normally don't put quilting around it unless I'm using batting in the pillow, and you don't really need to use batting. I mean, these are not that heavy, or these are not that large that I feel like you need to quilt them. So I don't normally put like stippling around it, quilting around it, unless there's batting in there. So, okay, so there's his head. Got the middle of his ears, and now the next step is step number 5 in the machine, and we're going to do the ears. So that's going to be, this is going to be the placement line to show us where to put the ears. I got to get all these pieces of white. Yeah, I was looking through the May, June, July, and August ones, and they're so cute, and I've always wanted to do those, and I just have never gotten back to them. You know, I started doing these. I made these January through April ones quite a few years ago, and never got back to them. And I thought the only way I'm ever going to get these made is to do it in the class. So we're just going to make the rest of them. They're so much fun, and we will finish them up. Get them all done. I love the July ones. They're so cute. And the June ones are adorable. Okay. So the next step is going to be, we're going to, and again, I want to use the same color for my tack down lines, because again, we're going to have kind of a motif stitch around here. Okay. So it might show through. So if whatever you're using to tack your fabric down should kind of match either your fabric or match your thread that you're putting around it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to place one layer, because remember, we cut 4 of these. Okay. I'm just going to use one layer of this fabric. And yes, it may show the green through a little bit, but there's going to be 3 more layers on top. Okay. So we don't have to worry about that. All right. So we're just going to do one layer. I'm going to make sure I got it right side up though. These are really hard to tell. Okay, so then we're going to put this over the ear placement lines. And you kind of have to make sure you get it because they're kind of tall. Make sure I get it over far enough. Okay, like that. So then we're going to tack this down. And this is just kind of our base for our chenille. Gigi decided she was going to stay out here. She's still sitting there. There's a new 4th of July. Yes, there is. I can't wait to see it. It's I ordered a kit for it the other day. In fact, I think it's supposed to be here tomorrow or Tuesday. On the vault. It's called Sweet Land Liberty. And there's going to be another new pillow on the Kimberbell vault. Yep. Yep. Not till April though, sometime. All right. We get our placement or our tack down lines in here. And then we're going to trim these close to the stitches. Okay, trim these close to the stitches. Second here, I got my little tails. Hopefully this next week I can get my machine down to Ron and have him do a little fix up on it, because I've been getting lots of tails. Needs to have a little service, I think. It's been almost a year. I didn't realize it. I looked up my last service and it was in May of last year. So, all right, we're going to get this trimmed around the ears here. And even though you can kind of see the green through it a little bit, and yeah, you could have put shape flex on here, but there's going to be 3 more layers of fabric on top, and with the chenille you're not going to see it. So that's why they didn't tell you to put shape flex on this one. Didn't I just have my machine in recently? No, not this one. Last time it was actually service was May. I have several machines, so I think I had my other one in. But I sew a lot, so my machines actually usually get serviced twice a year, but I haven't done this one since, like I said, it's almost been a year, which is unusual for me. I sew a lot. All right, getting about around this one. There we go. Okay. So the next step is we're going to go back to that pink, and it's going to do the little outline on the ears. So I'm going to go back to my pink for my covering stitch, and it's like a little motif stitch. So that's why they kind of told you to do matching thread, because it will show through just a little bit. I really like this fabric. I had 3 sets of these little pillows. So one of these is for Judy. All right. So this one's going to be hers because she likes green. I have this other cute little lime green. So we're going to go ahead, and this is step number 7, and we're going to do the little decorative stitch that's going to go over the inner ear, that kind of pinky color. And it just covers my, I could have gotten just a little bit closer on this because I forgot that this part had the decorative stitch on it. So I could have gotten just a little closer, but it's fine. I don't like to do sometimes it's better if those little decorative stitches stitch on the glitter. So I didn't trim as close as I sometimes do, but it's covered fine. Oh yeah, that'd be really cute. You can do anything you want with these. I mean, I've seen people make pink and blue bunnies and yellow bunnies, and oh yeah, that would be really cute. Any color would be really cute. All right, so there's my inner ears. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the white, and it's going to do all the decorative stitching around the bunny part. So let me get my white thread in here. Actually, I'm surprisingly okay today with the daylight savings time. I struggle this time of year when we go to daylight savings time, but I changed my clock yesterday afternoon when I got off of work early, and I went to bed by the new clock. And I think that's why I'm okay, because I normally am struggling by this time of afternoon. I feel like I've lost an hour of my life and I never get it back. So I wish they would just choose a time and leave it alone. I don't care which one it is, if they just choose one and don't move it anymore. I personally like the one we just left, but that most people would probably choose the one we're on now, so the time, but I would just wish they'd leave it be. All right. So while this is stitching, I wanted to show you, we're having Kimberbell Club tomorrow night, and I don't know if anybody has gotten to see these yet, but like I said, I love Easter. So while this is stitching out, I was going to show you what we're going to make in Kimberbell Club. Really, yeah, I actually, usually it takes me about 3 weeks to get used to it. I just, and I'm actually doing okay today, believe it or not. Okay, so the Kimberbell Club, we're going to make these little cinch bags. So it's a little bunny bag with the little ears. And then it has the little drawstrings in it, and you cinch it up, and it makes the little ears. Aren't that cute? I made 2 of them. This is a pink one. I think I made a blue one too. But this is what we're going to do tomorrow night in the Kimberbell Club. This one. And these are so fun to do because you work on both sides of the hoop with these. So you work with fabric on the top and on the bottom of the hoop, and then you put fabric through the stabilizer, so it's really fun. You get that time change, issue change. Yeah, leave it one. That's the thing. I wish they'd just leave it one way or the other. I personally like the time that we were on because that's the normal time, but I don't think they'll pick that. I think they'll pick the one they just changed to, but I wish they'd just leave it alone. So that we didn't have to change back and forth. But aren't those cute? So that these were really fun to make. So this is what we're going to do tomorrow night. I made 2 different ones. I made one with a heavy cutaway and one with one with the no-show mesh, and the no-show mesh one is a little easier. This is the one with the no-show mesh. It's a little easier to draw it up. It isn't quite so stiff. So, but anyway, that's in Kimberbell Club tomorrow night. So we're gonna make some little bunny bags. So it's Easter time. Oops, I can remove my book. So it's still going. It's getting around the ears here. So that's what we're working on tomorrow night. That's at 7. Yes, you do need to pick this one up in the shop. So for those of you who are a ways away, I cannot email or mail those designs. Those are they're not the digital dealer exclusives. They're the older dealer exclusives. So they do need to be picked up in the store. So if you are local and you want to take the class, go ahead and sign up on the website on shieldsewingcenter.com. It's $10. And then, even if you can't get the design before tomorrow night, you can come in and pick it up then. They're so cute though. This is the 5x7 version one. This one fits in a 5x7 hoop. So and then there's a smaller one. I didn't do the smaller one. I just did the 5x7 one. So, but I just thought they were adorable. And you can put a little candy in there. Wouldn't they be cute to put on the table for Easter dinner? Put a little candy in them. So I just thought they were cute. Something really cute. Okay, so now it's going around the head. And is that in the store? No, this is not in the store. This will be online. But if you have to pick the design up in the store, it will be on Zoom. But you have to pick the design up in the store because that's per Kimberbell's rules with these particular designs. They said we could teach the classes online, but we have to have them picked up in the store. Okay, so we're getting around the little head here. I think then we're going to work on the face. Yep, then it's the face. Yeah, it's so weird. I've got terrible sun coming in the window down here. It's pretty good. I like this fabric. It's the white with the teeny tiny little polka dots on it. Okay. Yeah, Nancy, if you need to sign up though, so I'll send you the link. I know then you could go get the design later. Is the green a Kimberbell fabric? Yes, it is. This is one of the Kimberbell basics. Yep. Otherwise, I can send you the link to the video later, Nancy. Okay. So now let's see. Now, step number 9 is going to be, the little whiskers and his nose. Or no, in his eyes. So we're going to go to black for that one. I just used 3 colors in this one. So we get our black thread. Okay. All right. So we're going to do the little whiskers and the eyeballs. Turn my page here so I know where we're going next. I think it's the nose. So we'll do the nose next. I just thought this was adorable. This has been my favorite one. And the other one I'm really anxious to try is one of the May ones. The May ones are really cute. And so I just thought all of the summer ones were cute. So I'm actually really anxious to do those. I've had the kits for those for actually a couple of years and I've never gotten to do them. So I'm really excited. I actually got to cut them out and I'm ready to sew them out. So we'll work on those in May. So that'll be May, June, July, and August. We'll do those pillows for a couple weeks each month. And then in March, so we're going to do this pillow. And I was planning on taking next week off because we have an event. We're doing the event No Place Like Home. It's the pillow, the new Kimberbell event pillow. And it is called No Place Like Home. That will be next Friday and Saturday. I have one kit left. If anybody's interested in taking that event, it is online. And I have one kit left. So if you're interested, go sign up on the website. And I only have one left. And then that'll be next Friday all day and Saturday all day online. And then, so I was planning on taking next Sunday off because I was going to be teaching all weekend. Is that the Brother Black? Yes, I'm using the Brother Black. Oh, your Stellar would be mad? Oh, I use the Brother colors all the time. That's about all I ever use. What is included in the event? It is all of the materials, all the batting, and the 2 days worth of class, and then you and the pillow form. So, and then you have to know that it says to call the store. You can go on to not where it says the calendar. You need to go into the shop button on the website and then to the registrations, and it's there. Okay, so yes, you can sign up on the website. It just on the calendar it says to call the store if you're looking on the calendar. Okay, so now we're going to do the nose. And then let's see, what was the other question somebody had? Oh, what is included? So yeah, so the all the fabrics, the batting, the pillow form, and then the only thing you need to provide is your stabilizer and your thread. And there's only about 8 colors of thread in it, so it's not it's going to be really fun. The pillow turned out really, really cute. Okay, so now we're going to do the nose. It looks like I gotta trim some little tails again. So like I said, I'm hoping. Okay, so anyway, this next Sunday we will not have class at 6 o'clock. Okay, so I was planning to take that one off because I'm teaching all weekend. The following week I was planning to teach, but Dad has a bunch of doctor's appointments the next 2 weeks after he was in the hospital. So I am actually going to take 2 weeks off at the end of March. So the next 2 weeks we will not have class on Sunday evening. Okay, I need a little bit of a break. I'm struggling to keep up with anything, and I gotta take my dad to some appointments. So so we're not going to have class for a couple weeks, and then in April, the first 2 weekends in April, then we will be doing my bench, or not my settee pillow, the other bunny one. That will be the first 2 weeks of April. Okay, and then the third weekend is Easter, so we'll have Easter off, and then the last weekend in April we will have a class, and I haven't decided what we'll do yet. Okay, so that's what the next 2 months are. So we will have a couple of weeks off here at the end of March to kind of regroup, because Jan needs to regroup a little bit and get caught up. I'm a little bit behind, so after Dad was in the hospital, I lost my whole weekend last weekend, so I get kind of behind when that happens. So a second here. Okay, so let's get rid of some of these little tails here. Yeah, I don't ever have any trouble with the brother thread. I don't know who was it that said they had trouble with the brother thread. How much is the event? The event is $169. 2-day event. Okay. All right. All right, so we get that all done. All right, so here's our base for our little bunny. Okay, so he looks pretty good. He's got his eyes and his nose. Okay. So yeah, so I just needed a couple weeks to regroup, guys. Sorry. I'm struggling, and I have to get my taxes done too. So that's the thing. You add that in there too, you know. That's the hardest part for me, is you have to get those taxes done, and I always wait till about the 1st of March to do them. So, okay. So now I'm going to lay, after I got all of the outlines done, then it says, this is on step number 18 on page 18. It says place 3 remaining ears fabric pieces right side up, completely covering the ears. So I got to make sure, excuse me, cat. Sorry, Gigi's trying to sit on my lap. Okay, I got to make sure I get them right side up. So I'm going to put all 3 of these right side up over my ears. This is really hard to tell which is right side up, so I have to put it down on my jeans. Okay. And we're going to do the 3rd one. So all 3 of these I'm going to lay on top of the ears. Okay. Then I'm going to change back to my white thread. Okay. Whoops. Helps if I get to the white. Black probably wouldn't look too good, would it? I've got thread behind my machine. There we go. Okay. Give this a try here. Okay. So step number 11 is going to be like a basting stitch. That's going to go all the way around the ears. And then it's going to be all of the little lines that we're going to use to make the chenille. Oops, I haven't got the little lever down. There we go. So now it's going to do that first. So it's going to do kind of a basting stitch. I guess it's going to do the little lines first. Then it does the basting stitch. And then we're going to do another trim. But this makes the chenille. And I know some people that made the bunny out of like minky, or they made it out of fleece. You wouldn't have to do the chenille then. You could just use the poofier fabrics. So that would be just fine. Just do one layer. That would be absolutely fine. Oh, you have issues with black thread? Yeah, I really don't have any issues with any of the brother thread. I've been using it for, I don't know, ever since it came out, maybe 20 years. And I didn't use it for all the time for a while because they only had 60 colors. And now they have 314. So as soon as they came out with lots of more colors, I just went ahead and bought all the colors. And now that's all I've got with me here. I have more thread at home, but I just brought the one set with me. So I have all 300 colors here and I'm good. So it fits well underneath Dad's got like a bar counter out here. And this was the family room. This is the family room of the house. And there's like a bar counter over here and I can put my threads underneath there. It works great. So it's doing all those little lines. We're going to do something with this cool tool here in a minute with those little lines. After we get it trimmed and take the basting stitches out. The hardest thing for me is taking those dang basting stitches out. So I got to find my seam ripper here. While this is stitching. Get that out. I can tell it's getting time for a new blade on my cutter. I think my cutter needs to be second here, having a technical issue here. I think I'm going to have to reset my bobbin. I could hear it making funny noises, and it did. Yeah, it's getting on time to get. I think I'm going to try to do that while I have 2 weeks off. I've got another sewing machine I can sew on, so my machine's just starting to act a little bit finicky sometimes. So, but I'll tell you, if you have funny sounds or it's doing something funny, rethread the entire machine. Take your bobbin out and rethread the top. Because if you do only one of the two, it will always be the opposite one that you did. How often do I change my needle? About every 4 bobbins or so, maybe 5. I change my needle a lot. Needles are very cheap. I use Oregon embroidery needles. They're not expensive, and I change them very often. I am going to back up a little bit because I want to check that little spot that I kind of missed here. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, my machine's, like I said, my machine's starting to get a little finicky. I've noticed that it's a little finicky. And time to go see Ron. He probably won't like it seeing it, but I do change my needles quite often. I have learned that having a good needle in the machine, in fact, I changed it today because my needle sounded funny. I can hear, yeah, I buy them in bulk as well. I buy 100 at a time because I go through a lot of needles because I sew a lot. I heard a funny noise today with the needle, and I knew it was time to change it, so I got it changed before I started class. It sounds fine now. Yeah, isn't it cute? This is so much fun. I really like making chenille now. When I first tried the chenille, and I think this might have been the first thing I ever did, either this or no, I don't name my machines. I'm quite attached to this one though, I have to say, but I've never named it. But the first time I did chenille, I think maybe was the Jingle All the Way quilt. There was chenille trees in that. And I think that was the first time I ever did it. And I really struggled with those. And one day when a bunch of us were sewing at the store, none of us had an emery board. They always tell you to use like an emery board. But none of us had one. And so I went into the kitchen and started looking around to see what maybe would work for chenilling. And so that's when we discovered this high-tech tool. I love my high-tech tool. This is a plastic serrated knife. And it's a good cutlery one. You know, it's one of the better quality ones. These were some that we got at Walmart, or no, not Walmart, at Costco in one of those sets. So this is my chenille tool that I'm going to show you here in a minute. This works awesome. And we just kind of discovered it by accident because we didn't have anything else to use, and we all grabbed one of these knives, and I've got a whole pack of them just so I don't, you know, if I break one, I have some more. Because I do quite a bit of chenille now. I actually like it. Because when I first did it, I thought, oh, I don't really like this. I don't know if I do this again. But after I got the right tool, boy, it made a difference. Get a couple of my little ends cut here. Oh, that's stitching out. It's getting closer. Yeah, it was kind of mad over on that one piece. It's better now. But yeah, it's so cute. They did like a little, I don't know if you can see it. It's like a little programmable fill on the nose. Can you kind of see the little, looks like little pebbles almost. It's kind of cute. Getting close. Got a couple more lines to do. And it does those like with a triple stitch. And it's a little easier. I usually do the chenilling with it in the hoop, even though I like to be done sewing. So this actually is at the end, so we'll be done stitching. Sometimes I do it'll tell you to do like the fringing in the hoop, like right after you do it, but I like to wait until the stitching is done, just in case I pop it out of the hoop. So I always wait till the end. Now this is at the end. This is the last step. So it'll be done here shortly, and then we'll do the chenilling. But I like to leave it in the hoop because sometimes it's just easier to hang on to it, you know. And then we'll do the trimming. This one's easy to put together too, so. I just thought it was simple. You know, even though it's so cute, I think part of it is that it's so simple, it's so cute. You know, the pillow itself is simple, doesn't have a lot of frills on it. Like the little background. I wish I could have found this cute little background that's in the book. I think this might have been one of their baby. They had some baby fabrics some years ago. I wonder if that's one of those. That little one with the flowers on it. I thought that was so cute, but you can't get it anymore. So, but I thought this was cute. This is one of their basics. They're just their basics. So I have a basics box, and I love that thing because I can go grab a fat quarter out of there. Okay, just about done. We got one more line, and then it's going to do the little basting stitch. And we're going to trim, and then I'm going to take all the basting out. This is the only part that takes very long. There's just this little section at the end. Oh, Shannon said did you make chenille blankets? Oh yeah, that would be a really hard thing to do, a whole blanket with the chenille. It's really pretty. I mean, I like chenille now, but got to have the right tool to do it. And then I'll show you the cutting tool. I've got a really cool cutting tool too. It makes it easier. All right, so there's our basting stitch. All right, so we're going to do the trimming. So we're going to trim, and then I'm going to take the basting stitch out. All right. Now just be a little careful when you trim that you don't trim through your stitches and get it, get the form off. I'm going to sorry, I got to get rid of my tails first, get them out of the way. All right. That's why my machine's going to go see Ron. It has all these little tails it likes to leave me. All right, so try not to cut through those long basting stitches, because then you don't want your ears to be a funny shape. So doing the best I can to keep from doing that. Around here, and then we'll take those basting stitches out. Yeah, there's a couple of CDs. If you like the chenille, they have a couple of the hot pad CDs that are chenille, and they're so cute. All of them. There's one for Christmas and one that's all fruit. So they got a couple CDs that are just all chenille. Okay, let's get this little end part down here. Okay. Yes, you could, Cindy. It's actually pretty easy to see. You shouldn't have any trouble seeing it. You could. Sometimes I have a little trouble getting them out, so I usually do it in a matching color. But yeah, you could do it in a separate color. It's pretty easy to see though. It's so much longer than the other stitches that you can see it. Okay. All right. Getting around the top here. We even went through a ride through the park today. It was such a nice day. All right, getting just a second here. Got to get around the other side here. I am going to put my glasses on to make sure I am getting the right thing. Just be careful when you get onto your ears here. Don't cut through your vinyl. Okay, there we go. All right, we got our ears. So now we're going to take those basting stitches out, and I apologize. It will take me a minute to do that. Okay, let me get my glasses on here. Oh, Lynn, you're still here. That's fine. Thanks for coming. Were you eating tonight with family? All right, so we're going to take all these basting stitches out. And like I said, it takes a minute, and it actually works better for me to do it in the hoop, because then I have something to hang on to while I'm trying to do this. So, but I thought this would be a fun one. We could do the whole pillow, because it doesn't take very long to finish it, and you can see the whole thing. I was going to do some pre-sewing, and I thought, we'll just do this together. It's fun to do it. I could have done the part up to the ears, but we'll just make it together tonight. Since this is the last one until May, can you believe that we've gotten through 8 of these little guys? This is the 8th
month. So we've actually done 16 of these little pillows. I couldn't believe I would actually done that many of them. They're so much fun. I'm really anxious to do these summery ones though. They're so cute. Oh, Lynn, did you watch Lynn's card making class, Cindy? Is that what you're talking about? Lynn's card making class? Yeah, she does a good job on the cards, doesn't she? I'm not a card maker, so I had her helping me with a couple of videos when I taught a class. All right, well, I'm getting around here. Sorry it takes a second. You just have to sit here and watch me pick some stitches out. There's really no faster way to do this. I wish there were. Has anybody tried any of those stitch erasers? I think Dime has a new one. They said it's pretty good. Has anybody tried that one? I saw that we had an event this last week with Dime, and they had some of those on special on the event. Thought that was kind of cool. Oh, for my pillow class. Yeah, you know, I really love those little settee pillows, and I'm anxious. I want to do some more. I'm going to do 4 more. I'm going to do a winter, spring, summer, and fall one. But I kind of got waylaid from them with other stuff, and I'll go back to them and get those. I'd like to have a total of 10, and I've got 6 right now, so we're going to do the last 4 yet. We'll get them. I always manage to get everything done eventually. One day at a time, you know. All right, so I'm getting around here, getting closer. Even if I had done this, pre-sewn some of this, I would have had to done this. So you still have to sit here and watch me pick the stitches out. Oh, somebody uses the Peggy's one. Yeah, I guess the Dime, people say the Dime one works better. I have never used the Peggy's one. So I guess I've always picked my own stitches, but people say that those work pretty well. All right, so I'm working on the second ear. Half done. I like this new seam ripper. One of my students gave it to me. It has a little light in it. It has a little light on the end of it. I like this. I'll have to ask her where she got it. I think it's pretty cool. Sometimes, you know, if now this is, you know, my machine's pretty light, but sometimes if you're picking stitches, if it's dark, it's really nice because it lights up, has that little LED light in the bottom. So, whoops, getting close here. Let's go around, keep going around the corner. This is kind of how you have to pick stitches when I long arm a little bit too, and if you make a mistake, you got to pick stitches. I usually pick about every 3, and then I'll actually pull the bottom thread, but this one, these are so big, it doesn't really make it any faster because they just pull out because they're so long. But if you got shorter stitches, if you go through and cut about every 3 stitches and then turn over and grab the bobbin thread on the back, the whole thing will just come out. But it works better with shorter stitches than these. All right, we're getting there. Okay, just a second. I got to read that. What did it say? Can you share with others my experience with the Hoppy Easter bench pillow? I'm a beginner at that kind of thing. Oh yeah, who is it that said that? Hoppy Easter for Marcia. Hoppy Easter is the Kimberbell pillow, and it was fun. I did that one we did that one last year. So I've got all the videos up there about that one. That one was really fun, and it has the quilting in it. That was the first one that I really did the you know, their quilting designs in, and pre-quilted it all. So that was kind of neat. All right, getting close. I got to go down here and get the bottom here. Then we can do the chenilling. See who else is on here. Yeah, I like the quilt as you go. I like it better for the pillows. I I prefer my quilts to be quilted through the backing. So I usually do those in Design Center, actually. I like to quilt those after the fact with my embroidery machine. I love the designs that they have, but I just don't like my back not being quilted because it looks plain or something to me. So that's just my personal thing. I love their designs though. All right, so getting around here, I got a few more stitches left. All right, whoops. One more. This one's being contrary. Okay, I think we got them all. All right. So we got the basting stitches out. So now the next step, whoops, is going to be, we're going to do the slashing. I just love this little slashing tool. So this is a tool, this is on the website too. Yeah, the projector works really good. And I like Design Center. It's a little harder. Do you have a Stellaire? The Stellaire is a little harder because you got to use the app. It doesn't have a camera built in. So I started doing Design Center for the quilting with my Dream Machine because it had the scanning camera, but it didn't have the projector. But the projector really works. Okay. So now we're ready for chenilling. I'm going to leave it in the hoop. And I have this cool tool. I love this little tool. It's called the slash cutter. And there's two little ends. This one is for like curved. I also use it for really short straight ones. But so what it is, it's like having a little rotary cutter with a straight thing, and then I'm going to slide it in between these lines. So there's lines here. And you can see that indentation. So I'm going to slide this in between, okay? In between, and you don't want to cut. The reason I like this is I always did it with scissors. And the scissors, I had a tendency to cut into my lower fabric, the bottom piece of fabric, because remember there was a fourth one down there. And somebody said something about my machine collects a lot of 1-inch threads around the bottom case or below it. So I have to brush out. Yes, I do have to. And and also, Colleen, I've noticed that when your the cutter blade gets a little dull, it will start doing that. So with this, I can slide this little post underneath the 3 fabrics and it doesn't go into the bottom one. And I love this because it's like a little rotary cutter. So I'm just going to slide this in between there. Okay, underneath all 3 layers, and I'm just going to slide it over, and it's a little, oops, it's a little rotary blade, and it just works so slick to do this. And I really love it because I don't get those, I don't have that problem anymore with my, must have a basting stitch still in there. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going in between each one of these ear areas. Okay, and just go in between it with the little slasher. And these are up on the website too. And they're under the accessories. If you go to the shopping page and then go to the accessories. So I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. Yeah, these work really, really slick. And there's other slashing tools that I've seen. But this one's nice because it's a little bit bigger. And I think it's easier on your hand because it's got a handle. It's basically a 28 millimeter rotary cutter with the little blade thing on it. So, okay, so there's that. Just going to go through all of these. But it really kept me then from cutting down into that lower layer, because see, then there's that last layer and I can get under the loose ones, and it doesn't, I was always cutting through that with my scissors. Okay, so there's all my little cuts. But yeah, I really like this. So that's up on the website too. I think it's, I don't know, maybe $17, $18. It's not really expensive, but it's a nice rotary cutter. Okay, and then you can use just regular 28 millimeter blades in it. Okay, so now comes my handy dandy high-tech tool, my serrated knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pull these up as best I can. And I'm going to start chenilling these, and I'm running, across them. So I'm going to start, and these are sharp, these are pretty sharp, and they do a good job of chenilling. And that's why you want a cotton thread fabric, 100% cotton fabric and no polyester, because they fray more. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start working on this. Pull this up with your fingers. And I just kind of keep going until I get the way I want it to look. And this works so well because the emery board wasn't sharp enough. It wouldn't fray it enough. Can you get that down in, Rebecca? What are you talking about? Oh, the slasher. I'm not sure if I have one down there or not, but I can send you. Oh, wait, I can always send one down. I'm not sure if there's some. I thought I ordered some for down there, but they may not be gone, or they may be gone. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to do both ears. But you just have to kind of pull up the layers with your thumb as you're going, and sometimes I'll get it started in the hoop like this. And then I'll finish it up, once I get it done. Before I put the pillow form, I'll lay it flat and I'll work on it a little bit more just to finish it up. Because I'm not going to spend the whole night working on this for you. So we can go on to the assembly, but you can get the idea. So I'll do both of them. And like I said, just kind of pull it up with your fingers and get started. So I just kind of work my way around the ears. Yeah, somebody said those chenille brushes work well. I've never purchased one. I found this and I thought, well, this works really great. So I just used my knife. Is the chenille brush kind of stiff? Is it like a wire brush? Because if it's a wire brush, I would think it would work really well. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going. I'll probably finish this later so you can see. This one's doing pretty good, though. You can see this side's pretty good already. But after I sew it together, sometimes I'll lay it flat on my table and keep working on it. It is easier in the hoop, though, because then it's, more stationary. So what do you think? You like chenille? It's not very high-tech tools, but sometimes the simplest things work well. All right. Okay. So I'll work on that just a little bit more, but I'll just kind of finish up this later, but I don't want to take all your time doing the chenilling. But isn't that fun? And then I just keep going until I've got it the way I want it to look. And then sometimes I have to trim a little hair. Sometimes there'll be some little ravels or some little hairs I have to trim a little bit. But that's just how you finish up the ears then. And I'll show you the ones that are done. I thought these turned out really good. And this is the same fabric. So see, I worked at these a little bit more afterwards. Okay. So you can see they turned out really well, and they're nice and soft. So yeah, so that is, it works real well, and it's very soft. And then, like I said, I had to do a little bit of trimming around and stuff. So I'll work on these some more so I don't take up all your time for that. But we're going to go ahead and finish putting it together. Okay. All right. So the next step, we got the chenilling done. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the hoop. And if you give me just a second, I'm going to run over and I'm going to press this quick on my ironing pad. And I'm just pressing along the edges. Don't touch any of your glitter vinyl. I just want to flatten this out. I am not taking out the stabilizer yet. I want the stabilizer in it when I go to do when I get ready to what about making the face using the method use? You could, I think you could do it. They did it flat and then they did just the ears with the French, but I think it'd be cute with it all done. And then you could use maybe like a fleece here and then chenille the ears. I know people that have used Minky on them too, and they did the whole thing in Minky, and that was really cute. Okay, so I'm going to move my camera over here quick, and we're going to trim this. So we got to do the trimming. Now this one has some special trimming instructions, and then we'll put it together. A second here. Give me a second. I'm going to put this in the sewing mode so that the arm will get out of my way. All right. There we go. Pull this up so you can see what I'm going to do. Okay. So, get my backs here. Okay, so we're going to lay this on here. And this one is going to be trimmed. Give me my instructions here. This one's going to be trimmed to 8.5 by 8.5. But the specialty instruction is the ruler is placed at the bottom of the bunny face. The bunny face will be partially sewn into the seam. So we need to pull this down, or I'm sorry, push this up so that it is at the bottom of the bunny face. And I'm going to center it up in there. And kind of, I use the bottom of the bunny to help me, help me be straight. Looks pretty good. And then the little arrow here, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little arrow down here. I'm kind of shooting for the center of the ears there with that. So I've got it kind of centered in the hoop there. Looks pretty good. Okay. And I like to leave the stabilizer in when I do this, because when you leave the stabilizer in, I'm going to move my glue gun. It makes it lay a little flatter. So I'm going to turn this, and it works much better to do this on a rotating mat. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my rotary cutter now. I'm going to trim all the way around this. And this is going to be 8.5 by 8.5 when trimmed. Just be careful when you use the pop rulers. I love these pop rulers, but just be careful and work slowly with them. I've learned that if I work slowly with the pop rulers, I do much better with them. Took me a while to get used to them because it's kind of weird cutting on the inside. Oh yeah, somebody said it'd be cute as like a hoodie, on a little hoodie. Yeah, that'd be cute. With a little bunny sticking up, yeah. Okay. So there is our trimmed top. I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the stabilizer off then, the back now. So like I said, I like to use tearaway on these. I don't like to leave stabilizer in these because they kind of, I don't know, they kind of pucker or something when you go to put a pillow form in them, if they have the cutaway stabilizer in there. And technically we are working with a non-stretchy fabric, so we really don't need to use it to cut away. Okay, we're going to pull this off. Although I'm just going to leave it on the bunny ears and everything. That's fine. There you go. So there's our bunny. We're ready to put it together. So let's do the assembly real quick. This was an easy one to do the assembly. So I'll move the camera back over here and change my foot. It's been so cute. I'm trying to read all your questions. Are on an Easter bag with gifts in a small, yes. Yeah, a lot of people have an idea of how to use this because I like the little bunny peeking out of the, because it'd be cute to put it on like something that was peeking out. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm going to change my foot real quick and let's do, I think I'm kind of, is it going to focus for me? It'll focus here in a second. Sorry. Sometimes it takes my camera a minute to focus after I move it, or if I get my hand in front of it. All right. Is it focusing yet? Come on. I know you can do it. Is it going to focus? There it goes. Sometimes I just have to put my hand in front of it and give it a little help. Okay. So let me get my foot changed and we'll finish putting the back on. But I am going to do a little more chenilling. It needs to have a little more work on it yet. So I won't put the, I'll show you how to, I'll do the flowers later, but I'll show you how I'll put them on. So, okay. So now this is going to be another one of those. It's an envelope back. Now I like my envelope backs to go this way. So if, and I think in the instructions, it shows it this way. You look and see. Yeah, either way is fine. It doesn't matter. I like mine up and down, so it doesn't matter. You can choose which way you would like it. And we're going to match up these raw edges here. And of course, you know, the hem, I already hemmed it. I turned it over 1/4 of an inch and another 1/4 of an inch. And that's going to be on the inside. So let me get a couple more pins in here. Yeah, this one is going to be for Judy. She likes green, so I thought I'd make this one for her. Okay, get this pin here. Now this one's going to have an overlap, and I like to do those. I like to double sew over the overlaps so that they don't rip when I go to put the pillows in and out. Isn't this cute? It is a very cute project. This was been one of my favorite ones. All right. Got the right sides together. Okay, so here's my overlap. So we know where the two overlaps are going to be here. Down here. So I want to know where those overlaps are so I know where I'm going to double sew it so that it won't rip out when I take the pillow form in and out. Oops, missed that one. And I'm going to sew this together with my Pima cotton thread. So I'm going to change my thread here real quick. And I might even plug in my foot controller. Let's see if I can find it. It's down underneath my machine somewhere. All right, so let's put some Pima cotton thread in here. I think I'll just use white. I don't know that it would. What I've always done is just done like I just back over it. And so I'm basically sewing over it 3 times. You could use a triple stitch around the outside edge, and that would probably work too. I don't really need a triple stitch through the whole thing. I just need it where those little overlaps are because they like to rip a little bit. So I'm going to use Q02 on my machine because I need a 1/4 inch stitch, and I've got my J foot on my machine. And I found my foot controller. So, and I like to start at where those little overlaps are. And I'm going to pull that pin, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew over this, and then I'm going to back up and then sew back over it. So I have like a triple stitch. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam. Going to back up over it again. You have to kind of help it to stay straight. But I found that it's sort of just like a big tacking stitch, but it keeps that stronger there, especially if you use cotton thread like I do. The cotton thread is kind of, it's kind of weak, you know, on those stress points, and works better to. So I'm just going to go 1/4 inch all the way around. See if I can get it lined up here. I'm a little bit crooked here. There we go. I'm not the best cutter in the world, so probably off a little bit. Yeah, the chenilling works really well with that knife. So if you don't have one of those, look through all your plastic cutlery and find yourself one. You don't want the cheap ones. You want those real good ones. And they really make a difference. Because I had to look through until we had these really nice sets of forks and knives and stuff at the store, and it really worked nicely. So, all right. Getting around here, and I'm just going all the way around because remember, this is an envelope back, so we're just going to sew all the way around. Yep, so this one didn't even have all, this one was very simple, and I think that's why it's so cute, because it is so simple. The first May one has a flange, and it's really, really cute. It's the one that says, hanging with my buds. It's so cute. All right, so there we're all the way around. Yeah, it's just a clear knife, and we found it by accident because that day that we were at the store and we didn't have any way to do chenille, we just kind of found these, and I said, hey, I wonder if this would work, and I just started at it, and it was like, wow. I couldn't believe it. Okay, so now we're ready to turn this thing right side out. I'm going to do Grandma's little trick. I'm going to go ahead and use my first finger in the corner, and I'm going to pull this down to the seam allowance and then push the corner into the seam allowance. Hold the little corner that I just created with my thumb and push it right side out. We're going to do that all the way around. Pull down to the seam allowance, push down to the seam allowance, and turn it right side out. And then I'm going to use my other little tool too, but that gets us started with a nice square corner. Pull down to the seam allowance, push in. Like that. One more corner. And this even works. You do not have to cut your corners. Don't cut your corners because they will, I go through them every time if I do that. And I'm going to grab my little tool, my little Floriani point turning tool. I love Grandma's trick. Yeah, that Grandma taught me a lot of stuff about sewing, just little things, you know. And as I've gotten older, you know, I wondered, well, why did she tell me that before? But as I've gotten older, I've needed those tricks. Okay, then I'm going to press this, of course, and I'm going to work on my chenille a little bit more. But there's our little pillow. Isn't it cute? And when you go to put your flowers on, so what I did is I just got some of the little flower roses like this. And I'm not going to glue them on yet because I'm not quite happy with this ear. This ear needs to have a little more work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue one in the center, like at the top of the head. So it's going to be like a little crown of flowers. And then I'm going to put one in the center, and then I'm going to put one over on the side and one on the other side. And I'm just going to hot glue these on like that. Okay, so then that's how I'm going to put my little flowers on. Yeah, grandma didn't have anything fancy, and she had an old treadle machine, and everything was just a straight stitch. But she sure learned a lot of things, and she knew how to. She kind of tailored for people and made clothing and stuff. But isn't that adorable? So here's the one that's all done up, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna work on the chenille because you can see the chenille is pretty soft. So I just need to work on it just a little bit more, and then I'll put my little flowers on. Where did I get the flowers? I got the flowers. I got these at Walmart here in Anamosa. I know I got them at Walmart in Anamosa. And you should be able to find these kind of flowers like at Joann's or Hobby Lobby. I'm sure they'd have them. They were like ribbon roses kind of thing. So should be able to find them easily. And so this is going to be mine. This is the little teal one. I had the same print, but I had two different colors. So this one I'll give to Judy because she likes green. So, okay. Do you have the clover? No. So in the instructions, it tells you to use that clover mini flower maker. And if you have it, go ahead and use it. Just looked like a lot of work to me. So that's why I kind of skipped over this and I used the ribbon roses. I thought they were really cute and it was a lot easier. Okay. So if you have that little clover loom, by all means use it because it is really cute, but it just seemed like a lot of work to me. So that's why I used the little ribbon roses. They gave me the same effect and it was a lot faster and I could just put them on. So, okay. All right. So there's our last little April bunny, and we're done with the January through April bench buddies. We'll start May in May. So we're going to do May, June, July, and August. Then we'll do those over the summer. And give me a second. I'm gonna flip my camera up here, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do then for the first 2 weeks in April. So I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I will be taking 2 weeks off. So the next 2 Sundays, we will not have class. Okay.
Have any questions, though, please, message me, whatever, and I'll be around to answer those questions. But we just won't have live class for a couple weeks. I just need a little regrouping time. But then the first 2 weeks in April, we will do the settee pillow. This is called a settee pillow. It's smaller. This is called Hippity Hoppity Happy Easter Day. So we're going to do this one. This is my pillow. It's on my website. It's sew-along-with-jan.square.site is where you can get it. Okay. And settee pillows, there's 6 of them actually. They're 12 by 22, and you can get the pillow form. I get the pillow form for these at Hobby Lobby. They're 12 by 22, and they have them in stock because I went in there. I know, isn't it weird that it's still light out? I'm still having a little trouble with the light. So anyway, we'll be doing this the first 2 weeks in April, right before Easter. Okay. And then we'll take Easter off. Yes. Thank you, Shannon. We'll take Easter Sunday off. And then the last weekend in April, we'll have a class, but I haven't decided if we'll have software or scan and cut. It may be software because I already have the software one in my head, and I'm still struggling with getting my scan and cut stuff set up. It's not all here yet. So I'm trying to get that set up yet and have to do some work on like lights and stuff. It's very dark in the basement. So I have to do that little work on that yet. So, okay. So we're going to have 2 weeks off. The next 2 Sundays will be off. This next weekend, Friday and Saturday, we're doing that event. And then we will have 2 Sundays off. And then the first 2 Sundays in April, we'll be making the settee pillow, the Easter settee pillow. What is the newest scan and cut? There's actually the 300 models, 325 and 330D are the 2 new ones. And then I still have a few of the 230Ds left. And I might have a 225 yet too, the older one. I haven't done a birth announcement, but that would be something that'd be fun. I actually have some more complicated applique that I want to do. So we're going to do an applique class probably at the end of April. So, and then we'll do scan and cut in May. I promise. I'm struggling to get everything set up so that I can see down there. I've got everything kind of set up. Now I got to get some lights up so I can see what I'm doing. So, okay. That's my regrouping time for the next couple of weeks that we're going to not have class. So, okay. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and email me, text me through Facebook, message me, whatever. And I will see you in 2 weeks. So it's the first Sunday in April, we will start the pillow. So if you want to get the pillow, go ahead and go on my website and order it. I think it's $12 for the design. So you can order that. And there's also some other ones as well. Everybody have a really good little break. And then I will see you the 1st of April. So thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, let me know. Good night. Bye.